We are checking your connection, checking your connection, checking your connection. I gotta see the little thing. So low vision means that, yes, if anyone later asks something, or that we get around to that, who knows? It's Black Friday, so this is when Americans don't need a rapper to trample each other. Oh, too soon? Oh my God, I was politically incorrect right off the bat. Jesus Christ. Mary and Joseph. I didn't even plan that one, but he's not even really a rapper. He's more than a rapper. He does all sorts of creative stuff. That one I'll just leave it. I don't know, because I don't know the person. But it was a terrible thing, so I don't make a joke of the deaths. But it's very real. So if the shoe doesn't fit, don't wear it. But if it fits, you know. But I am very politically incorrect, so and that's just such a funny word, politically correct, because politics is far from being accurate or just or correct. So it's sort of like an oxymoron, kind of, I don't know. So I'll give it 1 second, because I do feel this contemplation is important. It's very important to me. It's very significant for me. There is a huge connection. Sekong helaya. A huge connection between addiction and receiving. Huge. And it's nice to contemplate, so I'll go over a little bit of what it is to contemplate, and we'll also breathe. So we'll see. If no one comes in, then I do my grace practice and I contemplate on my own, because all these are also, this is my grace practice. I would be doing this with the camera. I've done this for years. I've always done a slew of sort of rituals at the end of the year, and as I've gotten older, I suppose I've fine-tuned them more and more. It started off with just fasting to be like my friends that were practicing fasting in the month of December, and then it went on to doing other rituals, I suppose. That whatever I resonated with, I loved, and I did, and I incorporated it. And so it's just a sharing. I'd be doing it anyway. Oh my God, there is somebody. So I'll be right back in one moment. I was about to click it off, but yes, this will begin, and it's gonna be good. I just need water. Okay. Mm-hmm. So this one is about, first of all, contemplating. Contemplating. Contemplating is the opposite almost of thinking, I guess. Because when you're thinking, you're really following the brain. Think, 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 think. Think, 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 think. When you're contemplating, you're telling the brain, stop a moment. Chill right here. We're going to park it on this street. We're going to take a real deep look at this. So today we're contemplating addiction and receiving. And many people would say, what's the connection? An addict will see it immediately. Whatever you're addicted to, you receive it, right? Even I've never had intravenous drug addiction. Praise the Lord. I've had many fallen from that. But even we had a friend, my group, my circle had a friend who became addicted to heroin and then became pregnant. She is now dead, my friend. Her baby was born without a skull bone. I don't think she ever recovered from that. And so she committed suicide, basically, an overdose found, in a tent city behind a Walmart, probably sucking some cock for $5. A girl that used to be, I'm a label whore. She was beautiful, beautiful. I don't think she ever got over the fact that she could not stop doing drugs and what she did to her baby. But as she was there pregnant and putting that needle in, she was receiving. She was receiving. She was receiving that escape. She was receiving. She was receiving that emptiness. She was receiving that community of junkies. She was receiving. She was receiving that. The mind definitely probably saw it as that. So her child could never speak. Her child was basically a vegetable. And she never stopped. The child went to her parents. And the child, I believe, is still alive. And she is dead. When we contemplate, we contemplate. We go in deep. Because you could say, oh, but that person was so empty or so confused. There was so much. Or so stuck in that despair, could you imagine to be shooting yourself up and know that this could harm your baby and still not be able to say no? And to live another day with that, and then to, oh, the fear. I had a friend that was so addicted to cocaine. He was so addicted to cocaine that if he heard somebody go, he would go, "You got some? You got some?" He got some. He was a festival roadie guy, you know. I knew someone else. I'm very touchy-feely. I like touching. I love touching people. I love it. I just... And when I danced, too, if I would dance at music festivals or perform or whatever, everybody was always like, "What are you on?" What are you on? And I just feel I know it now. It wasn't that I was that sexy or any bullshit. I was that empathic that I was getting everybody's highness. And trust me, if you are a really powerful empath, somebody's doing acid, you will feel like you're tripping. So anyway, the touching, people were like, "Touch. What pills you got?" Why? Receiving. Oh, to be so open that you really receive that touch. That your mind isn't saying, "Go to her titties, go to her titties." And that you're just rubbing her arms and in heaven. It's a beautiful thing that you can receive with that intensity. Hey, there ain't no judgment in contemplation with Shakti. It's a beautiful thing to escape from all that hurts, to escape instead of saying, "Well, why do I need to party at the show? How terrible is my life that my only break is to get totally slammed once in a while and then go back to the life that I'm always complaining about." I was at Burning Man when I stayed at the Orgy Dome camp, Atoll, and then there was only love. And as soon as, I'm going to call him out. As soon as we got there, my ex-boyfriend and I, my ex is also a lawyer, and these people, the owners of the Orgy Dome at Burning Man, which has never had a sexual rape or any kind of incident, in the middle of the desert, offering a place with air conditioning to have sex to 10,000 people a week at one time, you know what I mean, in 1 year. Beautiful organization, consensuality. Anyway, one of the lawyers, as soon as we're just building, they're just building the camp, you know, we're just getting there. He's already buck naked. He's like, "Hello, Shakti." And I'm like, "Well, hello there." That desire to escape, that I've got to wear a suit and tie, even in that, you know, like as soon as I saw that, and then of course my very conscious ex lover says, because really we were lovers. It was a very scientific relationship, I suppose, for me, because I was in my very early rising of the White Tigress path and the Vamamarga Tantra path. So I was that unfair older woman, probably. And I am now in love with his wife to be. As soon as I saw them together, I was like, oh yeah, this is who I got you ready for. This is who I got you ready for. Go on, have babies, make this world a better place. That's the only thing I ask of them, because they're beautiful. Dominican Irish, what? What? So I notice at Burning Man things like that desire to escape that people have, that desire for Sodom and Gomorrah, that desire for just being. And that is why I am still a part of Burning Man Hive. Burning Man Hive is a platform where it's an app. So many great things are happening, but this is not about that one. And as a burner, you do get to see some shit. You'll be walking around. You'll go, this is the Star Wars camp. Oh, 2 people are fucking in the Jedi thing. What? And you just, nice, continue. You have people naked serving hot dogs, you know. You have people at their best and at their worst. As always. You have people, I've worked as a greeter. They train us to be ready for suicides, which we've had. We've had some burns go down the wrong way. You have people in the middle of the desert crying, not wanting to leave. You have people that are just, they cannot even stomach the fact that, you mean I can walk around naked and I can smoke and drink and I can just be myself, and today I realized that last night I had a sunburnt dick and I don't want to walk around naked anymore, but maybe I'll just put some feathers on it. I don't know. I don't care. They, you know, I am me wherever I go. So this is like, you know, at Burning Man, I wear a cape and naked, but I still wear my fanny pack. I still wear my leather fanny pack. My Burning Man clothes are my everyday clothes. I still wear the Game of Thrones fur. I'm like festival clothes. That's my closet. But that escape. When we contemplate, we can start breathing as well. It's a very active and beautiful form of meditation. And you can take just something, a quote. We have so many beautiful quotes on memes. You can take something and make that your point of arrival. Or you could just smoke some ganja. Smoke some cannabis. Marijuana is not nice. Maybe do a microdose. But take something. This is great, actually. Let me backtrack. If you microdose on mushrooms, to me, it's the plant beings. If you microdose, and as part of your microdose integration, maybe after work or before or whatever, to sit and take a quote. Maybe if you love Sigmund Freud or you love Carl Jung, or if you don't know these people, you know, if whoever your writers are, Ken Wilber, Osho, you know, the Dalai Lama, maybe the monk who gave up his Lamborghini writer, you know, maybe Chuck Palahniuk, whatever, from Fight Club, and Monsters, and Choke. maybe one of his lines, the quotes in Fight Club. Oh, my God. Mind-blowing. So see, everything is a guru. Some days you just want to destroy something beautiful. So powerful. So you take something, whatever, and something very simple, just one-liner, or just the concept of maybe cultural humility. I know what cultural is. Humility, okay. And you contemplate it. You see where it takes you. And when the mind wants to go, well, we got to pay the bills too. No, mind. I'm here. And we're thinking about this. Enter yourself with every breath. We're contemplating addiction and receiving. And with every breath, maybe inhale, ask the question, may I receive, may I know, or how can I contemplate this addiction and receiving? Or receive the moment you're creating as you're creating it. Very circular, very flow, very ebb and flow. Addiction, receiving. Addiction and receiving. And you go into just those two words, addiction and receiving. What am I receiving in addiction? What is there to receive in addiction? And no judgments. When we contemplate, if you're judging, then you're thinking and you're judging. When you're contemplating, you are embracing. When you're contemplating, you're embracing it. You're not judging it. You're allowing it. What is there to receive in addiction? A lesson. That's for sure. Happiness. Extreme happiness. Sadness. Extreme sadness. Despair. Lack. Fullness. Fullness, right? Que rico. They say that there is never, cocaine is an addiction that really revolves around that first line. Nothing is as good in your history of cocaine as that first line. Whether it is the daily first line or that first line that you were like, and people chase that first line forever and ever and ever and ever. It'll never feel as good as that first line, and they'll do more, and they'll eat their snot with cocaine, and they'll look for the drip. They're like, but it's never going to be the same, baby. It's never going to be the same as this first time. Good morning. Right? But I'm very real. I'm very, very myself. I don't even know if myself is real, but I am whatever this is. So always direct why beat around the bush, you know? So, contemplating that drink, that sauce. I used to call it the sauce. I can't lay off the sauce. Everybody thought it was funny, but it comes from like the 20s, 30s, and all that stuff. And so now when something is really good, I say it's awesome sauce. It's awesome sauce. Because it's just sauce without anything. But I know people that will call themselves alcoholics for life. I am a recovering alcoholic. Well, then you are a recovering alcoholic. You haven't beat it, baby. You're recovering. You're in recovery for life because you want yourself there. I don't disapprove of the 12-step program of Alcoholics Anonymous or NA. I totally think that every program is appropriate for every single person. There's a program out there for everyone. But there is a time to let go of the AA and the NA too. I also know someone who used to shoot up all the time, and he goes still daily to a meeting after 12 years. I'd rather him do that than go back and kill himself. But at that point, after 12 years and you're still doing NA, is it your ego that's attached to that label? Is it your ego that wants to know you're doing such a good job, you come to a meeting every day? You're so awesome. Is it your ego that wants to say, I mean, I'm a recovering alcoholic, and so I know. And I know people need me to let. What is that? I feel, the ego is that's just too bright. It's just too obvious. So for someone in tune, I'm looking at the person going, woo, baby. If somebody put a drop of alcohol on your lips, you'd lose it. And I'm honest. So, that's what I see. That's what I see. So a lot of power to all the programs, but there comes a time when, okay, so did you recover or what? Or are you still recovering? And if it's a lifelong thing, then that is ego. Because you're not an addict. You weren't born an addict. You weren't, you had maybe genetic propensity, maybe genetic possibility to become one. But did you kick it or not? When you contemplate, you go deep. And you go fearless. Now there's I don't even know if there's sometimes I wonder. Supposedly there's a big, on Bloomberg and other channels, male addiction to porn. Okay, whatever. Maybe not. I don't know anymore. And I kind of like not knowing. I do see the change. Of course. I mean, you give a man, we went from robes to, and men are like, our men are animals as well, but they are animals built for something else. The masculine animal, it fucks, hunts, and kills. That's what the masculine beast, an animal, is designed for. Animal, the masculine animal, okay? The female animal varies Some female animals don't even need a man. Some female animals, like the white tigress, which is why the white tigress path is called this too, they only come together with other women when it's for the pride, you know, when it's for their pack, because they're not lions. They're not lions, but when it's for the pack, when it's for a bigger cause, most of the time the white tigress hunts alone, but she too is a hunter. I love the hunt. If I'm not, I love the hunt. I used to be addicted to the hunt when it came to sex. I used to go for, if you weren't hitting on me, I was like, ooh, I'm attracted now. If you were hitting on me, oh, that wasn't a hunt. That was too easy. I didn't want that. Because there is that addiction. I was receiving something. And I was receiving something good. I was receiving that exercising of my natural animalistic self. See, guys, I got you. I got you a little bit. Not. And so that hunt, some men live for that hunt. Some men are like, you're either going to be caught or you're not going to be caught. Either you're, you know, te vas a ser casado, you're going to be hunted, or you're going to be the hunted, you know, or the hunter. And so I've had an Argentinian man, Matias, tell me, when you see a man, Shakti, he goes, ¿casas o te dejas casar? And that means, do you hunt or do you allow yourself to be hunted? And I go, what? Because Matias would also say he was Hare Krishna. And I'm going, how are you, Hare Krishna, asking me this question? So the hunt is there. And the internet gives men that hunt, that seeking, that girl that's going to be the one for this time. They are exercising their desire to hunt. It's very important to put a little bit of, not defense on this, but they are mentally and energetically, the energy resonates with this. No, oh yeah. And men will read what women write, and men will, look, you know, if a man is interested, by God, he will wait years. He will wait years because of that hunter in him. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful because I spent time balancing out my sacred masculine energy by working Tantra with men. And I also share that I healed so much by helping men heal themselves. It was a journey that I'll share in other places, but so there's that addiction to that perhaps, but it also is, so contemplating that addiction, what do you receive? See, we took it deeper. Always got to take it deeper. So we breathe deeper and we go into, whether it's alcohol, whether it's drugs, whether it's having the courage. You've got to have courage. And I believe, you know, courage isn't something that you can buy. It's not something, even if you buy a gun, it is you who has to have the courage to use it or to put it down. So courage is not something that you buy. And you've got to have courage. And I believe that everyone on this planet who is breathing has courage. It's courageous just to be here. You don't have to be here. You know, I'll do one on suicide maybe later, but you know, you don't have to be here. But you are. That takes a little bit of courage. Even if you're getting up on Bourbon Street off of your cardboard. Courageous. Now, you might not accept that. Somebody like that might not accept it. They might not see it. That doesn't mean it's not there. So, contemplating, having the courage, you've got it. Just, you know, believing or taking the chance on believing. And you got to start baby steps. So in addiction, can't just go, okay, well, I believe I'm not addicted. No, we've got to accept where we're at first. You have to accept where you're at. And knowing that it is, you know, one day at a time or whatever. You don't go from NA to no NA. There's a journey, you know. And so accepting that it is a journey and that's the one you're on. And that you woke up again for it. So just like you can accept, well, you know, I'm in this shit again, accept that, yes, you are. And can end at any time. There's many different ways. But in the middle of, in the last, the source drop of your greatest fear lies your strongest self. In the darkest part of your being, in that shadow, lies that shadow self, that part of yourself that you have not even allowed the light to hit, that you have not chosen to look at, that you had not sent energy to, that you have denied. And deep in that is a part of you that has survived. And that is why that is the strongest motherfucker in you. That addict, that addiction, that whatever, that's where you gotta go. Because that part of you, even though you deny it, is still alive. And it hasn't needed your attention. It hasn't, needed your love. It has remained there. Ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-bum. And that's your truth. And it's still alive, and it's still in there, and you know it. And it is still alive, even though you choose to escape it. So many people will word the shadow self and all that, whatever, however they want to. I call it living. I don't call it shadow work. I use the term because, hey, it's mainstream. It's living. So, and that's just a fact, Jack. In your traumatized self, in your abused self, in your addicted self, lies a strong motherfucker. And the problem is you going in there, retrieving that part of yourself, looking at that part of yourself and receiving. So you gotta allow. And it's just that powerful. What does that person really want? Out of that hit, out of that what? Out of that pill, what do they really want? What are you hunting for? And with addiction, for example, to porn, it does fall kind of conspiracy theory-like, because in traditional teachings in Vamamadaga and Tantra and Qigong, in Neigong, in martial arts, in ninjutsu, in Hindu, in so many. The male semen, the seed, so much energy is lost when you all are there. So much. So I find it quite interesting that this is an addiction now. And I'm like, and then men are like more stressed out, and it's like, dude, you jerked off like 5 times today. You still got stress? What's going on? I've told this story before of somebody on Instagram, but who is a friend. He's a friend. Oh, but Shakti, you turn me on so much. I don't allow this, okay? But I've known this person in person, so. And I'm like, all right, with my friends, I accept you. I'm not your guru. I'm not your whatever. I'm like, okay. Anyway, so I'm going to keep talking and go ahead. Do whatever you got to do. So, and then I see and I go, one time he said his leg went numb, and I'm going, yeah, because your root chakra is blocked. And he was like, it's so powerful. And then another time, I'm going, that's it? How many times have you jerked off today? Because he's so attractive that I know he just, and all the girls go, ah! That's my friend. So I'm like, all right, whatever floats your boat. You're still on that, huh? Okay. If he hires me to work with him, then it's my job to help him out. But if you're my friend, that's just it. So I love you. So accepting our addictions with laughter. Accepting laughter instead of judgment. So breathing deeply will just, now that we kind of touched a lot of stuff, I hope it was food for thought, things to think about. I have, for me, I did Iboga. And I did Iboga, a very powerful 23-hour trip, psychedelic experience. I had a doctor. I had a shaman. I had a nurse actually be with us as well. The doctor came in once and left, and then at the end of my 23 hours, checked my vitals, all that stuff. When my trip finished, my shaman said, did you see it? And I knew what I had come out with. And he said, did you see that you're not addicted? You're not an addict? And I'm looking at him, and I'm having a really hard time digesting all of this shit. It's been 23 hours, you know? And I'm hearing howler monkeys going off. And I'm hearing all sorts of shit. I'm in the rainforest. And I looked at him, and it was very hard to say yes. I see this. And he said, when you have the courage to be yourself, you will be addicted no more. I left 2 years after that. I relapsed into cocaine addiction for 1.5 years. I'm sharing this because the plant medicine will not do anything for you. The plant beings work with you. So I relapsed. I was just disgusting. I got very suicidal internally in my soul. I was not happy that after so many years, over a decade, and then now I wasn't even sure what this person was giving me. It was a very toxic relationship, and we were both monsters because I attracted that. So I too was a monster. So maybe about a year into it was only a year and a half, thank God. I was like, I have got to get out of this. I have got to get out of this. I don't know how I'm going to get out of this, but I have got to get out of this. And 3 months after I said that, because it was really only like, I want to say a year and 4 months. I don't know what he's talking about, a year and 6 months. It was a year and 4 months. But 3 months later, I collapsed on the field at Okeechobee Music Festival. And somebody had to go pick me up because I didn't want to go to Okeechobee Hospital. And I had been giving dirty pills with fentanyl and other things. And I never went back to that man's apartment ever again. My soul got me out of there. My soul said, I don't know if I'm going to have to kill us, but we're going. We're out. We are peacing out. And after that, you know what? I went and I did Iboga in Hawaii. I had to hold on to a 70-year-old uncle to walk and everything. And this person, thankfully. A year later, they were like, I just want you to know that it's over. And I'm going, I moved to Hawaii, bitch. I know it's over. I've been trying to get away from you. And I just finally changed my number last year because the every year birthdays were really getting on my nerves. So what I discovered was exactly what the plant medicine told me. In going to Hawaii and it was the second time it was the first time officially that I got asked to bless a land, to bless an entire property. It was a little bit before Hawaii that I really started stepping into the shaman role. Right when I collapsed, the father of a child of mine killed himself on an overdose as well. And when I read his obituary and the comments friends put in Facebook, I said, oh my God, if I would die, or if I would have died at that festival, they would be saying the same thing about me. When he was dark, he was really dark. But when he was light, he was heaven. It's beautiful comments that were said about him. So amazing. But he never got to that. And so it was in his death that I found life. And it was in that, people come into our lives, but it was finally in that moment that I understood what the plant medicine meant for me. It was that if I did not have the guts ever to be myself, I would always want to destroy whatever fake version of me my ego created. Testify. It came down to the nitty-gritty. It came down to when I wore a suit, that wasn't me. To be the soccer mom, that definitely wasn't me. The alcoholic, that wasn't me either. The cokehead, That's not me. The woman on her knees in some church. That's not me. I'm up there floating, looking right into the Christ statue's eyes. That's me. And I had to really, because, something like, until you have the courage to be yourself, or when you have the courage to be yourself, you will be addicted no more. Huge, huge, huge. I had to first really go through contemplating everything that I had been. And I could deny that I was all those things, but deeper, taking it deeper, I also was. I did do that. I did act that way. I did do that. And accepting it. Receiving your truth, and then going into the why. Why? And for many things I would have to answer to myself, well, that's kind of what everybody was doing, and I was really bored listening to these conversations that I didn't really care about, and being superficial, and just being some arm candy, and just being something like an object. Can I have a drink, please? Looking at beautiful people, thinking, okay, well, we'll eventually fuck, we'll sleep together, but I'm not interested in anything you're saying. Can I have a drink, please? Okay. I mean, I want the sex and I want your arms around me, but motherfucker, if I have to, can I have a drink, please? Thanks. I also didn't like the fact that people found my intelligence it was immediately, they got defensive. And I started in accepting myself. And I took this a lot deeper than I thought, but whatever. In accepting myself more and more. And accepting, after that relationship, after Hawaii, after I went celibate, I said, okay, I'm ready to embrace my new sexuality. I'm going to go to the ranches of Nevada. I'm going to the bunny ranch. And, I ended up having a wonderful Christmas, which I'll post again. I always call Dennis Hoff my last guru. He was so far. Because he was like, baby, if all you want to offer is the tantric journey, what is it, tantra, the massage? Okay, I'm interested. And if all you want to do is this, do it. Be you. You've actually brought something new into the house of sex. And I took it to the Love Ranch and, went to work out and spent just great moments with this man that had nothing to do with sex. And they had to do with me seeing myself. And I'm here going, this is the owner of the houses of prostitution. And what? And just do it, baby. Do it. You're special, And I'm going, okay. And I did have sex. Had sex with a 21-year-old. There were times that I did have sex. And I enjoyed it amazingly. But for the most part, I did the tantric journey. And so I had to tell men that well, what I have to offer is this, and it's this much. Oh, but I really wanted to. Okay, you're intoxicated and your energy is way too low for me. So come on, let's go. Let's see if one of the other ladies has something that would interest you more. She began. Oh, you don't want this? Don't worry. There'll be somebody else that'll have something to make you so happy. It began. Hawaii cleansed and cleared and was so great, but being in that immersed, I really also went to and I got there around this season in 2017. I spent Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and you know, it was in that journey that I started seeing my own power and light. I had done ashrams, I had done all the religious stuff, but it wasn't until I had to do it. Until I had to do it and exercise that compassion towards that man. And exercise that, you know, well, I know you're offering me $1,000 to bang me for half an hour, but I'm going to have to say no. Ain't nobody going to teach you that. You got to teach it to yourself. It's a beautiful thing. And in another occasion saying, okay, well, I know it was just a tantric journey, but I'm going to fuck the hell out of this guy. Sorry to my children. Yeah. So, the courage to be yourself began. Was it easy? No. You know, then after that came all the neurological and all these medical things. And so now I was myself and with pain 24 hours a day. What? What? And so never going, that's why I don't do pharmaceuticals. I don't do things for pain. It's just not my thing. And so what was the only thing left? My practice. And my friend said, you know, if you breathe the right way, you can trip balls. How long do I have to breathe? My spirituality happened very organically. I believe in people because I believe in myself. I believe in myself because I've lived it. So contemplating all that you are. See, there was bad in there was good, but in everything that I said, there was this balance. And the balance and the neutrality, the meaning, can only be found by you. But that is the part where you are necessary, where you have to come in, and you've got to have the courage to look. And so yeah, I was drinking because I was too weak to say, I don't like anything that you're saying. I was too weak to admit that perhaps I was very lonely. And, also having ADD, manic, whatever you want to call it, and a little bit of the autistic spectrum. So, yeah, it was like this, autistic, like, manic, high intelligence, minority, indigenous woman. There was a lot going on. So, yeah, of course lonely. Single mother, of course lonely. But it takes guts. It takes guts to say, I'm lonely. And I just want to fuck you, and then you please get out of my life. Because that's where I was at. But I would endure horrible relationships just for that, And as a woman and as men, we do these things because we are in that animalistic. So my reasons can never be your reasons. Your reasons can never be my reasons. But there is something that can resonate. Because addiction is a memory of pleasure. I forgot who the great man, I want to say it was Richard Rudd. Oh my God, I want to give credit to, because that line, contemplate that. And so, whether you're jerking off 50,000 times a day, sleeping around, drinking, whatever, gambling. The gambler is always hunting for the sound of those chips. Sound of those chips, man. To a Vegas gambler, ooh, it's like a woman spreading her legs. They're like, and that, you know what they do with the chips at a poker table? It's mine. Receiving. There's this big thirst to receive in the addiction of gambling. Very big. And it's very different from what it's very masculine for sure. And we all have masculine and feminine. Embracing that animalistic mind is also a deep part of this. We come, we don't even have to say we come from apes. We don't have to say any of that shit. We evolved and we have a mammal body, logic, and choice. Do all the other animals have this? No. So they say I'm human. Now, what am I capable of? Because ain't nobody told me that yet. There was a deep longing in me. There was a very deep refusal that I always had. Now it is not a deep refusal. Now I don't accept that. I don't accept whatever in the fuck it is they, in the dictionary, defined as human. Because from what you're telling me, you can't read the other 22 strands of my DNA. You can't read all the other ones. They're junk DNA. Okay, gotcha. And you're telling me that I don't use 90% of my brain, or, well, I know I do. Yeah. I know this thing goes, wah! But you're telling us we don't use 90% of our brain, and you're going to define what I am for me? And I'm supposed to accept that? Get out of town. Can I get a drink, please? Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, that was one of my biggest ones. Oof. No way. And I had to find the courage to say, fuck it all. Fuck it all. Because I'm saying I'm gonna see what it is that this being a human is about on my own. And I don't need anyone's approval. And I already know that I can kill and I can give birth to another. Not that I've ever killed anyone. Almost. Been asked to. But no. No. Somebody wanted me to kill them instead of them having the balls to commit suicide. So I've been very face to face with it. But no, I don't accept the simplicity, the simple definition of such a complex divinity. And so coming out like that, it's a lot of energy. I get it. I get it. I had to accept it myself first. I get it. Trust me. There were many dark nights of the soul. And then having people say, well, what do you think it means? I don't know. And where do you think this is going to take you, Shakti? I don't know. Do you care? No. It's beyond words. It's beyond any religion, beyond... I just know that I must allow it. I cannot pursue it. I must allow it. And when I take my last breath, I will know. So, what it was to live as the absolute limitless human that I thought I was. So, and I will know because I am knowing every day. It's something that I can only give so much courage to anyone as far as like in words of just admiration for anyone's journey through addiction. I admire you completely. I admire my journey, so I can admire yours. It's definitely, without it, I could not have gotten to this state and to really dig in, so to contemplate. And there are some harsh truths. And accepting those truths is just, and asking for help. I do say, I'll meditate with anyone, I'll do whatever, because asking for help. I feel that when people ask for help, sometimes people ask me for help and then they waste my time. There's a little boy on Instagram that I never again, you wasted my time twice. And it'll be somebody homeless, somebody addicted, somebody this, somebody that. And because I know that you're not ready yet. You're not ready yet. But then at least accept that. And that's okay. Because that's the thing, even saying, I know I gotta stop, but I'm not ready yet. Receiving that. receiving that truth. Oh, and why aren't you ready yet? Go there. But go there, and as you go there, you begin practicing, exercising compassion towards yourself. You begin practicing, exercising unconditional love towards yourself, because you are now listening to the self. You begin exercising, practicing non-judgment and self-realization like the Buddha. It just took him to realize. You begin practicing, exercising self-love. I'm going to listen to myself. And I laugh at everything. Because I'm like, yep, and that was me. Yep, mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I said that. Yeah. Oh, yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Not my best side. But, yep, mm-hmm, that's me. Oh, you're going to release sex tapes? Oh, God. Okay. Get in line. I'm sure you guys have some kind of fan club collaboration. Some things we do, we have to laugh at. Because you're like, yep, I was that stupid. That's why I'm very able to store information and be aware of the information I store. But I'm also, sometimes I go, ooh, I love not knowing though. I love not knowing. So I think that gives me that balance. And when I'm like, I did do that. There's a stupid part still in there yet. I'll get you. Because I love learning. So I always see some fault or something as like, And I tell people, please tell me. And I, well, not anymore. Now I don't need them to tell me. But before I used to tell me. And I'm sure, don't trust me. I'll put it in my pocket and I'll work on it. And so years later, I told someone, you used to tell me I didn't talk and I was a terrible communicator. I think I've gotten better at it. But I did listen, see? I did listen. Because for me, it isn't about thinking about what I'm going to say when I do these. This is my practice of grace. So during times at the end of the year, I go through my lessons. I go through, I sift through things, and I'll catch traces of that addictive personality. But I also, am aware of like different things now. And and so I have to go deeper. Are you stuck on it, Shakti? Like your autistic spectrum kind of stuck on it? Or are you developing a bad habit? What's going on? And I really dissect myself a lot. Because I know that there are parts of myself that I must accept, and there are parts of myself that I must let go of. And there are parts of myself that are skills that I must hone, that are gifts that I have not yet learned how to give. That there are tons, so many parts of me that I have not yet seen yet. that there are so many parts of me that I still will experience. It's just the deeper you go in there is so profound. Addiction is about receiving, and is also the memory of pleasure. Take a moment to breathe with me. Now, just like the balance, it is you who says things are out of balance. It is you who says you like this. It is you who says that is extremist. It is you who ultimately gives these things meaning. And when you accept that you are the pleasure itself, you will live in pleasure. It will be a pleasure just to be here. Why do you think you recognize that pleasure? Why do you think you know and give meaning to what pleasure feels like? Going deep into that orgasm, that release, that escape, that release, depending on if it is a sexual addiction. Going into whether it's about the hunt, what is it that you're hunting for? Pleasure. And then accepting that it is you who defines and gives meaning to the pleasure. It is you who are the orgasm. It is you who is the ecstasy. It is you who intoxicates everything around you with your energy. It is you. You are the intoxication, the intoxicated. You are the hunter, the hunted, and the hunting. It is you who are the lover. It is you who are the warrior, the warriors around us. It is you who stand to live or escape another day. It is you who has the courage to open your eyes and to hope that today will be better. It is you. And so receiving all of that, and it's hard. Oh. That's why I tell people, when I make love to myself, I have to just open up. I have to expand. You've got to expand. It is you. It is you. It is you who you wish to receive from. It is you who is that which is being received with that exhale. It is you who is receiving with that inhale. It is you, and it's always been you. Go deep into that. embracing your shadow self, embracing the deepest, weakest, and strongest part of yourself. Maybe even remembering one day when you tried to pick up a gun and we're going to call it quits. Maybe going into that memory and holding yourself and telling yourself, we made it. Look, I'm here. Don't do it, man. Don't do it. Be a time traveler for yourself. Travel to those memories. Travel to all those moments of shame in that addiction. All those moments of guilt in that addiction. And embrace yourself. Embrace yourself. I've known people that have deep sexual addictions, and yet I also know that they love their partners so much. And so you would say, well, that's not real love. True, it's not. It's not real love because it's not being allowed to be real. It's not real love because the mind is in the way. But there is love there. And they go through this shame and the guilt, and they're like, one person told me, I'm not going to the brothels I've stopped. I've stopped. Yeah, he will, he was going to. I stopped working with that couple because my eyes were starting to go very bad. That was the journey of my eyes beginning. But I did see, and I do, from a distance, keep up with their well-being or struggle. And there was a deep love. He did love her very much. Very much. Very much. But he was also lonely. He did not receive from his mother what needed to be received. He was not receiving himself. His son had died and he went into sexual addiction. He did not receive his own healing. Your son dies and you go to the brothels. Come on now. That you're escaping. And the warmth of those women, or the company of a woman that wasn't sharing his own pain. When he looked at his wife, he saw the pain of the loss of his son, but yet he still loved her so much that, what can I do? How can I fix this? And yet they were both hurting each other. Addiction is not so black and white. Nothing is. Nothing is. Nothing is. Theirs is truly a love story. A love story for their son. It's a love story for their son. And a love story of two people traumatized and hurting so much that they each believed that they couldn't help each other, didn't deserve each other. And so there was so much in the way of love. And that's why you have to practice non-judgment. If I would judge, I would never see these beautiful things. Oh, because then you go, oh, but you would say, well, that's not love. And then you go deeper and you're like, oh, that is love. That is love. But that is also the mind in the way. So taking a moment just to inhale, exhale, allow to contemplate. But that is contemplation. Contemplation is going fearlessly in. I'm still uncomfortable sometimes I've learned that silence, my silence, makes people very uncomfortable. And it's very hard sometimes, I'm very honest, because sometimes I want to. And for an ADHD or hyper or manic person to that's heaven. That's heaven. And so, and I'm very happy. I'm ecstatic. Even in the moments when I'm not talking, I am orgasmic. I'm coming all over the place. I'm just there going, this moment just is. Let me inhale it. Let me receive this space, this moment, sharing my practice. The practice of grace is exactly that. Exercising grace towards myself, towards others, accepting how far I've come and how far I've yet to go. Accepting uncertainty. I know that there will be a time of deep silence. I mean, I do want to be one of those people that they find, 40 years later with their hair growing and their nails in meditative state. That's the crystallization of the energy body. That is, woo, that's what I'm going for. I mean, I've said this since I was a kid. And, could you imagine, well, why are you doing this life, Shakti? Because I want to see if maybe I check out at 100, but I go into some cave or I don't know, somebody finds me 40 years after I supposedly died and still kind of or I don't know, I just got this thing that I'm going to go through the body. I'm going to go through the animal, that I'm going through the human to get to whatever else that is. But you couldn't tell me when I was 7 or 8 or at any age that I got put in here, that this just evolutionarily happened, and that all I came here to do was fuck, do drugs, do crime. What? That's at the lowest. That's not getting out of animalistic state. Because I'm well, I got this, and I got all this DNA y'all haven't figured out, and I've got, you guys don't even know how to get rid of the common cold. So I think I'm going to go, I like my way. I like my way. And so there's been a stubbornness, I guess, but not egotistical, because it's also, no, I like you, ego, but you're my tool. I like you, mind, but you're my tool. I accept the addict, but I also know that there were tools that I found within those lessons, just like in a video game. You open up the chest, take out the key, because in the next level you're gonna need it. So accepting all the mystery, love is a mystery. Everything really is, if you take it as the definition, then it's somebody else's definition. And it's not in my nature. It's not in my nature. It's just not in my nature. Maybe that'll be an obstacle, I don't know, whatever people want to call it. But I do see that there'll be a time of deep silence for me. And I do a lot of work in the dream state. When I want to resolve things with people, I work in the energetic. Even this time with you is whatever you give meaning to. Even this time with you has to be done just for myself. For my acceptance and going through my grace. And accepting, yes, it's still uncertain. It's still uncertain. I don't know. I might not crystallize. And my surrender might just be letting the maggots eat me. And what if I stay conscious and I see and feel that? Oh, I don't even know where this is going. But I've just always known that maybe it was an autistic thing, maybe I read something and it stuck and I stuck in it. I don't know. But having the courage to be myself and to say, I don't know, released a lot of those needs, gave me a liberation I cannot define. Is it scary? Oh, yes. Yes. Very scary. But I've developed so much courage. And I know that I am the one that defines the balance. I know that I am the one that gives meaning to everything. And if I say that all is good, so it is. But I also know that my words can sometimes be lies. And I must recognize that and find the balance between the truth and the lie and go deeper into my truth. My truth. Devil and evil, as Osho reminded us, come from the Sanskrit Devi. Nothing is black or white. I made a joke on OnlyFans. I said, my students call me Devi. People call me Devi. And I'm like, I think that's kind of funny. One of my teachers called me a jinn. That's a little demon, a little spirit. He said I was a purple jinn. I said, But being at comfort in the discovery of myself is what I always longed for. That was deep inside of me. Just being able to say, you know what? I'm just going through it. I'm going through this thing called life. You're very beautiful. But you know what? Your energy reminds me of where I used to be. And so I will send you an orgasm from my heart. But I do not feel that you and I need to fuck. Because I've already penetrated your soul. And my orgasm is me. And I come all over this land with every step because I am so humbled and so grateful to be here. So just know that it is a journey. It sounds like a cheesy word. It sounds like I can't stand the mainstream words. They all get twisted, you see? Because everything, and then people adapt to these meanings. That's why I say, please don't call me woke. I am a zombie. Before you call me woke, just tell me I'm a zombie. And I'll end it with a movie that maybe was one of the things that got me stuck. Watching The Elephant Man when I was a kid. There's a movie, The Elephant Man, came out, and it was in black and white. They made it in black and white, even though we were in color. It was sometime in the 80s or 90s. I don't remember when The Elephant Man came out. But I was young. And that line that he said, I am not an animal, I'm a man. And you know, when you're seeking, you're a seeker. I'm a traveler. I'm a traveler. I travel. So taking a moment of silence just to embrace everything. If anyone feels the need to reach out or ask anything, I just have to put my finger there because y'all don't need to see my whole. But I can read it. I'll take a moment just of silence if anyone wants to say anything. I can read it. I'm just going to put my finger on it so I can read it. Just going to put my finger on it. And so I can read it and then I'll answer. I have to get very close. I have a scleral lens, so you can kind of hear them. It's like a glass eye. But my other eye is not good. So anyway, we do the best with what we have, you know? So I'll take a moment just for that, and I'll just say a couple of words. Just of accepting this moment, this beautiful moment that was created out of all the things and all the world coming together. Sometimes randomly, sometimes just curious, but exactly where we need to be. Trusting that you are always exactly where you need to be, because that is where you put yourself. And if you stop and you sit with yourself, you know that you know. And you also know that you know nothing. And that you shouldn't be afraid of uncertainty, because at night when you go to sleep, you've always been uncertain that you're going to wake up. You are good at uncertainty. Don't lie to yourself. Allow all the courage that you have to come in. Allow yourself to accept you at your worst and at your best. allow yourself to see that you are at a very unique point. No one else can have or has your perception. Not even Google. No matter how much Google studies me, bitch, you still trying to find out. What will Shakti search for next? Accepting your laughter, accepting how you don't know. Accepting your weakness, accepting your strength. Addiction might be the memory of pleasure, and you, the pleasure itself. May you have the courage to experience the pleasure that you are. May we each take a moment to send each other good energy so that each one of you may be that pleasure, may cause that pleasure, may bring pleasure. May you bring pleasure onto this world. May you be pleasure. And so much more. May you remember who you are. And may you have the courage to always, every day, may you have the courage to be yourself. And with that, I think that's it. I keep trying. I'm going to try to make them half an hour. Like I'm trying to push myself. This one went over, but this is a very personal one with myself. I've done the hypersexuality. I've done the hyper sex addiction. I've gone through it as a Vamamaga Tantric. That's why I always say, by the time Tantra found me, I was already tantric. I did already have, I was like, this is about extremes? What? This is Tantra? What? Okay, so yeah, I do know my extremes. And are you satisfied? No. I want more. And so the path kind of just tied up all in me. And going through it, accepting your darkness is part of Vamamaga Tantra. The people that are Vamamaga Tantrics have either already lived extreme and very different lives. And for Vamamaga Tantrics, it isn't like, oh, I want more connection. It's about, I know I am the connection. I don't want more connection. I know I'm the connected, the connector, and the connecting. So now what? And we go on in that journey. You know, are you more than alcoholism? Are you more than addiction? No. No. I am even beyond that. Those are habits or actions, and, you know, dissecting them as... And what are you feeling? What are you going for? Energy, energy, energy. Instant gratification. What's it about? Energy, giving you that little zap. You know, men will release, get a load off. They get their little zap. And then they're good for a little bit longer. And then, you know, and women sometimes too, but women do their hypersexuality in very, very attractive, beautiful ways. Whereas men, we just picture sitting there, horn dogging it by the laptop. But women, you know, there's good and bad, and I'm very feminist, and I'm very much about gender equality, but I'm very fair. And so men sometimes get a bad rap on that one, because I've known many sexually addicted women. And it's just not talked about, just like female alcoholism is looked down upon far worse and not talked about than masculine alcoholism. Women are also in much more danger, although men are too. I've counseled men that have gotten raped. I've been very scared. And so those are all things that, as far as Vamamaga, it actually gets you very, 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 it almost, in the old times, there were those that practiced Vamamaga that perhaps had not become alcoholics, that would actually drink until intoxication and then have sex to sober themselves up again, and then drink till intoxication again, and then sober themselves up through meditation. And so that's like where I'm coming from. And that's like the teachings my teachers passed on to me, and learning the very dark, esoteric, I suppose, Aleister Crowley also practiced Vamamaga, and he would sit there masturbating, unfortunately under the influence of opiates, and probably missed most of his great wedding night in the great temple, because he was probably tripping balls off the opiates instead of off of his own powerful energy. Within the temple, or within the chamber of the queen and king, which used to be chambers where they would put people that would only sit there in an orgasmic state, sending light across the land, protecting whatever, things like that. There's a lot of conspiracy theory on this, but this is the actual fact of why they were built, et cetera, et cetera. The conspiracy theory, whether it was for the aliens or whatever, I'm trying to get through the human experience, and so when we get into conspiracy theories, I believe, I only believe what I've seen and what I've lived through. And so it's way more than what I could ever say on Instagram. And I also believe that, go find out. Go find out. So I try not to get into conspiracy theories here. I just get into that historical architectural fact, because I think the conspiracy takes away from your path. Because how can you even, meet up with the alien and kick its ass if you don't even know yourself? Come on. Or you're being controlled by aliens. Okay, we'll get a grip. It takes you to, let's keep it simple. Addiction is the memory of you. And Vamamaga, does take you to very dark places. And that's why I always have fought to say that Vamamaga Tantra is not mainstream Tantra. Because some of the things that are involved in Vamamaga, most of humanity probably wouldn't survive. Let's put it that way. And in many cases, people wrote about it and things like that, but then they too were addicted. Sharing the great story of Alan Watts, who was one of the greatest Buddhist teachers of the Western world, also had his lifelong battle and struggle with addiction. I see that as beautiful. What a man. What a man. What a human. Just to be able to leave so much. To be able to leave so much gifted to the world from his own trauma. Beyond belief. So go deep in yourself and, you may be surprised at how light and how amazing you are. If somebody would have told me some of the things, I would have been like, what? I'm going to do that and get over it and get through it and go through it and then talk about it and then share it and then... Because I don't believe that any of my words could ever save anyone. I don't believe anyone really needs them. But I believe that I resonate with a lot of people, and that's just a deep part of me that I don't deny, but I also release. And every year in Grace, releasing anything that still has hints or traces of addiction, except for my addiction to myself. And we are the drug, as Salvador Dali said. So take another hit of yourself, and another, and another, and another, and just keep going. You can do it. I love you so much. Nobody put anything down. I don't see anything. So much love, much love. Grace is accepting who we are. So that took care of that part. Next time, we'll get into another part of my grace, which is more on accepting the mind and of sharing the journey of almost those times when you're ready to just slam your head into a wall and go, is my mind after me? Is my mind, having any form of mental illness, whether, or any form of mental condition, or I'm like, okay, so you're saying I have this syndrome, that syndrome, and that one. Gotcha. So my super smarts are really a condition? Gotcha. Okay. Having anything to do with the mind. We go through that journey too, of times when you're just like, shut up! Right? I told you I was gonna, I'm me. To the journey of, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. And going through that mind and what that mind, who that mind is, and then that mind, making that mind your tool. And it happens and you don't even realize it until years go by and you're like, I love my mind. Oh my God, did I just say that? Did I just say that? I did. It drives me crazy sometimes, but yeah, I do love my mind. That took a lot for me. Took a lot. Very much. Very much. Getting comfortable with what my mind was about. Getting comfortable with the speed of it. Getting comfortable with the mind and the empath. Getting comfortable with I am not the mind. So that's been something that, of course, deserves a moment of grace. It's been a beautiful part of my journey. It's been a journey within the journey. How did you, even in school, how did you get that answer to that mathematical problem? I don't know how I got to it, but if you do this and this, it doesn't make sense. If you even try to solve it like you're solving it, it doesn't really make sense to me. I really can't explain how I got to it, but that's the answer. Little girl, you're cheating. How could you have gotten to the right answer without the work? I don't know. But I did, and your way seems really ridiculous. Mrs. Alvarez, your daughter, is she being bad? No, she just gets A's, but so it was always a huge thing until I finally made peace with it. And so the journey always continues because the mind becomes distracted. So next time that'll be that. And that might also help if you have addictions, because the mind is a big part of our addiction and our journey with addiction. And the mind also keeps us from receiving. So much love. I hope everybody has a great day. May you receive yourself in everyone. In everyone. May you just receive yourself as much as you can until you have the best orgasm and the best hit of your life. Yeah.